guests potentially from different states joining today, and want to thank you for being part of this. Today's panel group is restaurant owners, and really is to talk about from chaos to clarity what we've been dealing with these last 15 weeks. And I don't know if we have clarity yet, but the panel group I'll introduce here soon has done some unique things to really survive during this time and to be different. Our moderators today is going to be Christine Morgan. Christine, if you could wave, our business solution specialist, and also Adam Peterson, our culinary specialist for Allegheny Valley Division. Let me go ahead and introduce our panelists for today. So Sherree Goldstein, who is the owner of Square Cafe in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sherree, if you could wave. How are you? Thanks, welcome. We also have Chef Martin Larmarche, who is the owner of V&V Scratch Kitchen in the South Hills of Pittsburgh.
Hey guys.
Welcome. Also, Chef Erik Hoover, who is the owner of Cockeye BBQ and Cockeye Creamy in Warren, Ohio. Welcome, Erik. And then also Richie Reece, who's the owner and president of Hooley House Restaurants. It's a 4-unit chain up in Cleveland, Ohio. So welcome, Richie. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Christine.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. If I could ask, if you are not one of the panelists today, please mute yourself just so that we have less interference. For you who are speaking, of course, you'll need to leave your mic unmuted. The flow of the questions today, I will ask questions. We're going to try to get to everybody for every answer, but if it looks like we're running short on time, I may start to just ask for volunteers. Just really depends on how we get through everything. So without further ado, our first question, we're going to start today with, in the beginning of the year, what were your plans for 2020, and how has the pandemic affected the plans that you had made? Martin, would you like to start?
Sure. Obviously, like, planning for 2020 would have been impossible looking back at it now, right? Just how things have unfolded. But our plan was to open up a cafe adjacent to the restaurant that we run, and to, continue some good steady growth as far as business that we were doing and level of quality that we were attaining. So with those goals, like looking back at it now, if those had been our goals, I think we're still trudging along. We maybe didn't hit any kind of warp speed path, but we're trudging along. We've kept ourselves positive. I think that's been the most important thing. And we've kept our entrepreneurial spirit alive, which has been our saving grace. So if our goal was to get a cafe open, we did just do that. And if our goal was to see increased sales, well, no. But if our goal also was to stay alive, we're here.
Martin, what is your difference between sales, like from what your anticipated goals for growth were this year versus what you're actually doing?
Well, I think that we've leveled off now, and we're looking at an average that probably puts us somewhere, maybe at 10 to 15% below what we would have expected to be at.
Okay.
I think that's, that sounds good in these times, and that's crazy, but that's the truth.
Okay. Thank you. Erik, how about you?
Well, we opened a new restaurant in August of last year, a very small walk-up creamery. We're making ice cream next to the barbecue shop. So we didn't really see the summer peak last year. We thought we would, we were late. So we kind of expected to see what that was going to be like this year. And to a certain extent we have. There's no dining room inside the creamery. So we fortunately we have enough property to set up tables outside so that they're social distanced and people feel safe. So we are seeing sort of summer ice cream business. Not to mention that we have a very small dining room in the barbecue restaurant. It seats 42. The square footage is, I don't know what it is, something like 30 by 15. So, 450 or 500 square foot of dining. that has been closed and will remain closed indefinitely. As a matter of fact, if it were up to me, I would never open it back up. I want to put meat coolers in there and sell. When you all are charging $7 a pound for ground beef, you know, I mean, I got that. I'm a hucklebuck, man. I know some farm. I can get some ground beef. But anyway, our sales, we expected a killer year. Our sales have risen each year in the 5 years that we've been open, and we kind of expected and did some expansions facility-wise so that we could handle that extra 10% to 15% we were hoping that we would get. I set a goal for myself that I'd like to see 20% growth each year. It's a pretty high growth, but when you start from nothing, it is easy to grow something. So we have not seen that. June is typically our banner month. We will do a lot of catering in the month of June, high school graduation parties, June weddings, and all of that stuff. We didn't see hardly any of that this year. But I mean, on the other side of that, our carryout business has been strong. We're a carryout focused business anyway. I serve everything in disposables. I don't have any flatware. I don't have any glassware. I don't have any of that stuff. So we were really the perfect guy to be around. Barbecue travels really well. People don't mind spending that, $15 mark on a meal. And we've tried to stay within that and under it. So I don't know. I mean, our sales are, I hate to even say it, but are up. We used to be open 6 days a week prior to COVID. We closed voluntarily for 7 weeks, and when we reopened, we only went to 5 days, which is what I wanted from the beginning anyway. It doesn't every chef want a 5-day work week, and every cook. So we went to 5 days, and our June numbers, 20 versus 19, were higher this year. So even minus the large caters. So, but it has not at all been what we expected. I'm a little long-winded, but supply chain has been weird. Our customers are weird. Our staff is weird. Our government is weird. It's all weird. And, I've been on sites where we're a barbecue place, so we might not have running water or a place to take a pee. So this is just another thing. Like, all right, guess what, guys? Now we already have a hot kitchen. Now you got to wear a scarf. And I don't know what to tell you. Free beer. Okay, there. Get past it. So that's it.
Well, thank you, Erik. Sherree, how about you?
Well, to follow up the barbecue, I don't want to make any enemies, but I am a vegan, so that throws me right off. I want to open a barbecue joint right now because we're a dine-in space and it's not cutting it. So congratulations on your success for sure. So we've seen overall a 60% drop in sales, and obviously our plans were continued growth. We've also had growth every year that we've been open. We're 17 years old, and we're a breakfast and lunch place, and we are not seeing what we need to see. We have all of our staff that are able and want to working, and that's obviously a little bit expensive, but I feel responsible to keep everybody as much as I can, obviously not to not make the business sustainable, but for now to keep everybody employed and working. So, we're adjusting. We have some plans for the future, but right now we have no indoor dining or outdoor. Our indoor space is too small. Our outdoor space, unfortunately, was 70% of it was taken away by our borough. And so we're just doing takeout and delivery.
Richie?
Hi. So at Hooley, our goals going into 2020 were to, one, find a way to stand out from the pack. I feel as, especially last year, the last couple years, the market in our area has just been flooded with new restaurants, which has been, obviously taken a bite into our market share. But so one was to find a way to stand out from the pack and let people know what we're all about. The second was to advance our technology to the highest we could, develop an app, really focus more on, try to push a focus more on the online ordering and different types of ways like that, that people could get our food. The third one was to grow. And that kind of encompassed a lot of things, to grow from a sales standpoint, certainly, but also to look for opportunities in different ways that we could grow our concept. And obviously when COVID hit, that changed just a little bit, but it's interesting. We always at Hooley House look at opportunity in every situation. So, COVID hits, boohoo. All right. There's got to be some opportunity here. Where's the positives, right? If you look for the negative, you're going to find it. If you look for the positives, it's harder to find, but you'll find those. So we found a way to advance technology through this, which has been really cool. And it's actually worked out pretty well for us to advance really our margins and our menu. We did a nice job doing that because this gave us an opportunity to cut some of the fat off of our menu and some of the dogs. And then to stand out from the pack, we really looked at it as an opportunity to run into the fire as everybody else was kind of running out of it. So one of the things I'll give an example that we did was I started using social media differently. We jumped in and started doing Facebook Lives and things of that nature, and then really focused on helping people in our community that needed it during this time. And it really helped us get out what we're all about at Hooley House and stand out from the pack. So those are some things we did, versus our plans and our goals. And I think we found some ways, even in COVID, to go after those goals, and hopefully there'll be some growth opportunity, coming up here in the future. But, I just sat here and told you about all like the sunshine and roses, right? And I bet there's a whole bunch of people rolling their eyes out there, and I would be rolling my eyes at me too, because really, I just want to make sure everybody understands too that, they asked me to be on this panel, and while I'm honored that they would like me to talk about what we're doing, I'm in the same situation as everybody else, right? Like sales aren't through the roof, and I'm having sleepless nights about what's coming up and what's going to happen. And there's so much uncertainty. So, I just want to make sure everybody knows that too, that we're all in this together the same exact way as you guys are.
Thank you, Ricky. So moving on, our next question is, when this pandemic hit, what was your reaction on week one, day one? What did you do? And what was most important to you as you developed your strategy as to how to move forward? Let's start with Erik.
Actually, I think it's probably going to be one of those days I never forget, honestly. In my life, I've never experienced anything quite like this necessarily. Maybe 9/11 was similar. I was much younger then, but you remember that kind of stuff. And I remember when our governor, issued, dining rooms were closed, and how are we going to proceed? And actually at that time, it was questionable whether we were essential or not. I mean, I wouldn't look at myself as an essential business, never would have thought that. I'm glad that some deemed us essential, for sure. But he issued dining rooms closed, and I've got a friend in the next county that owns a few pizza shops, and she called us and said, get ready to make the most money you ever made in your life. And I hate to say it, but those of us that are in business, we are opportunists the Hooley House guy, you're no dummy. I can tell, brother. You are going to make money for your crew, for your family. When dining rooms shut down, what are we going to do? Well, we're not going to be in the dining room. We're going to take our food to them some way or another. To parry that, I want to say that a few days later, all of that sort of elation starts to go away, and you realize what we're all sort of going to have to deal with. And we ended up voluntarily closing. When our governor issued the sort of stay home order, our crew, and ultimately the number one thing, I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of GFS, but I could buy from someone else. I cannot change my pit master that loads meat at night that easily. We're going to take care of our crew. And our crew had the heebie-jeebies, man. There was some hysteria. Not only that, the customers did not understand at all. In fact, I got hate mail, for emails and social media stuff from customers when we decided to close. How dare we close? We are an essential business. They were really pissed off. I couldn't understand that at all. Like, wow. Listen, there's 200 people that are going to walk through my front door probably at lunch today because of this hysteria. No one can get food. Wow, we don't know how to cook for ourselves at all. I guess everyone's going to eat out a meal every day. And it was overwhelming. Our crew was freaked out. I was freaked out. You guys, the suppliers, were all freaked out. We just pumped the brakes and shut down. We needed to regroup. Like Richie said, we had our technology was pretty good, but we had some hiccups. We had some things that weren't working as well as we think it could have. So we took that time to upgrade our POS system, streamline our online ordering, allow tipping, which we never used to do for our crew. We never used to do credit card tipping at all. I didn't want to deal with it. I wanted to be the cheap restaurant that people can save their 15% because we don't want the tip, honestly, when we open. And the customers are generous. You should turn tipping on. Take tips. Don't not take tips, okay? Take tips. Customers have been more generous now than ever. I mean, so in a nutshell, the reaction was, this is going to be awesome. I'm extremely competitive with my business. There is a brotherhood among restaurant owners, but guess what? If there were less of them, we all make more money. Mr. Cleveland, yep, I see that on your face, right? Get rid of those dumpster divers and let the guys that can operate have the ball. But on the other hand, no one wants to go through their life with that sort of mentality. We really are in this together. If everybody, here's my main suggestion. Everybody should switch to white styrofoam. Everyone, please stop buying all the cool black stuff. Anyway, but that's what happened. We were like, this is going to be great. We're going to profit. And then it was, I don't know if it's worth it under these circumstances. This is Mother's Day every day. And guess what? All my meat's coming in frozen. It's a day late. They don't have any chicken. Oh my God, I got to sell more chicken than I ever have before, and there isn't any. And it's not GFS's fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's what happened. Thankfully, our crew is solid, because it could have really been a house of cards. It could have went down big time if they weren't there. But anyway, that's what happened to us when it first hit, and now we're just dealing with, what's left.
Thank you, Erik. Sherree, what about you? You're muted.
Thanks. We knew we were Okay, Adam, you can laugh. It's fine.
It's all right. Vegans have a voice now. Go ahead.
We knew it was coming like 3 or 4 days ahead of time. Actually, Pennsylvania followed Ohio in terms of shutdown, and it happened just a couple days later. And so the weekend before we went into shutdown, we moved into a in-house delivery service, enhanced our online ordering capabilities, and just started to run with it. And that was well worth it. We closed the dining room, obviously, when they asked us to, but we also switched our dining room to a partial market. And so we offered restaurant size juices and flowers and all the essential items that people were really struggling to find in the grocery stores. You know, the supply chain had changed so much that the grocery stores didn't have flour for a while, and we did. So we were packaging that. So, you know, we reorganized our staff and put them in positions where they were strongest. We moved prep people to delivery people, and we got a electric bicycle that we can deliver in our neighborhood with big cargo bags on it. And we went to a flat rate, so everybody gets paid the same amount of money. And like Erik said, people have been really, really generous. Our servers have seen, everybody in the business has seen anywhere from $14 an hour in gratuity alone down to right now it's about $8.50 an hour in addition to the regular hourly wage. So lots of people, some people are making more money and some people are not. And we're trying to, we're going to use all of this information as we move forward into how to remain a sustainable business and how to treat our people more fairly across the board. So we've got some ideas about that, but it's been interesting, and you're right, we got to stay positive, and we keep everybody moving and as happy as we can. You know, I listen to them like I'm their mother. I help them with their bills like I'm their father. You know, like they need help with childcare, they need to borrow a company car. We just make it all work so that everybody can sustain themselves.
Sherree, thank you. Rich.
Yeah, so when this all happened, it was in Ohio. The governor shut down March 16th. So being an Irish place, Hooley House, that was the day before St. Patrick's Day. So it made it a little more complex for us. So the biggest week of our year is that week that we got shut down. So we have St. Patrick's Day on I think it was a Tuesday. And then we would have March Madness, being a sports bar type place. We have March Madness Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it was a pretty interesting deal. But I was sitting at my mother's house the Sunday, and I knew the governor was going to be given some sort of emergency talk on Sunday. And I had a gut feeling. So we had put out a statement that, hey, listen, we just, with the COVID thing going on, we can't justify throwing a big party. Sorry about St. Patrick's Day this year. You know, we'll be open in some capacity, but we're going to limit our capacity. And, you know, and then about an hour later, he came out and shut it down anyway, that ended up being pretty good. But we got a lot of street cred for that. And so that first night, I didn't get much sleep. And just like the rest of us, you know, Sherree, I heard you talking so nicely about your employees and your staff. Same thing with you, Erik. And, you know, we all do feel that way about our staff, right? So I was thinking about them and, you know, and feeling kind of bummed out. And then I woke up the next morning and I called my leadership team together. And I said, all right, guys, here's what we're going to do. And I could see the look on all their faces, just of, geez, what's going to happen here? And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go save some freaking jobs today. That's going to be our goal. So Hooley as we knew it, the restaurant business as we knew it, will never be the same from this day forward. So let's go get it. Let's throw some ideas out there. Nothing's crazy, right? Like, let's throw it all out there, because if I'm going down in a ball of fire, right? Like, let's give it everything we got. So we started coming up with all kinds of ideas, and then there became this synergy and energy with our group of laughing hysterically at things that we were going to do and ideas. And we said, hey, why not? Let's give it a shot. So, we pivoted right away to, Sherree discussed convenience products and like turning her restaurant into a market. I think everybody was pretty aware of the toilet paper crunch that was going on out there. And so we started doing some wild stuff immediately. So, one of the first things we did was on Tuesdays, we called them TP Tuesdays. So we knew we could get individually wrapped toilet paper from GFS. So with every carryout order, we gave a free roll of toilet paper on Tuesdays. So it was funny because people went berserk over that. We started selling big family pack items. So you could order, like on St. Patrick's Day itself, we had a family pack for corned beef. We sold, it was 3 pounds of corned beef, a loaf of bread, and a pack of cheese. And we went right away to doing things like that. We sold bread, we sold paper towels, we sold toilet paper, we sold people could get a pound of shaved ham. We had a slicer back there. Okay, let's go get it. So those are the kind of things we did right off rip. And then doing them is one thing, but communicating is another. So we also went to our local news channel we work with, Channel 3, and we called the rep there and said, hey, here's what we're doing. Anything you guys want to do? They came in, shot a commercial. And this is kind of silly, but once again, who cares? We took all the liquor off the back bar and we stacked toilet paper up back there. So we fully stocked our bar with toilet paper, and they came in and shot a quick commercial, and then all the news channels caught on to it and put us up on, we were on all their programs. And so, just by doing something different, where I think a lot of people got scared. Sure, we were scared, but the way we reacted is, hey, let's find the opportunity in it. And we went out and had some fun with it. And what's interesting, the crew that stuck around, I think because there was some sort of direction and plan and they were having fun with it, they stuck around with us, and that was pretty cool to see, and the morale was really good. So that's really how we reacted right when it happened. I truly believe this business will never be the same. We'll see where it all goes from here, but I think staying flexible, staying open to changes and new things and new ideas, new ways of communicating, I think that is the key moving forward.
Thank you, Richie. Martin.
Yeah, I agree, Richie, 100%. Innovation is truly what I've heard all three of you talking about. Innovation is such a big word, and it's literally what I consider to be the biggest necessity in these times. And even when it first started, I can remember being a little bit ahead of it because just had been talking with a friend of mine who was in Seattle. And I know you guys remember that Seattle was like the first hotbed. And as they started shutting stuff down there, it just seemed impossible to me that we wouldn't be shutting down here. So I was actually way ahead, to the point where people were looking at me like I was a lunatic. I had all my employees in gloves, the door was closed, and I was prepared to be innovative. That's what I was prepared to be. I just wanted to make it. I looked at the faces of the people who I was responsible for their morning, for their children, for everything else. And I laid myself out there. I said, I got to do this. I got to do this. Doesn't matter what we got to do. We got to do this. And I included them in everything that we did. And at the same time, I feel that I took the bull by the horns, and I just said, we're going to get through this, and I same, like I heard you all talk about sleepless nights, I felt that, and I felt your pain as you were saying it, because it was true. I am married to my beautiful wife, but I'm also married to my culture that I've created here in this place, and I'd be damned if I wasn't going to be the one to survive this, so when we shut down and people looked at us like we were lunatics, I knew it. I knew that was the right thing to do. I knew that this wasn't going to be a safe thing, and I knew it was headed our way. And immediately we started pivoting to hey, we're going to be a takeout restaurant. That's what we are. We went from, maybe doing 20% takeout and having a reputation as a plated lunch and dinner place to how can we be the best takeout place we could possibly be? How can we do curbside pickup, do it safely? How can we make people want to come here? Because this is going to be where they're going to want to go, so the number of things that we did, I can't even calculate at this point. Like, it seems to me like we pivoted and changed every single day. Sherree, I heard you say about your market, and I knew that you'd done that, and I was so excited for you. I was like, that's so genius. We tried on a small scale to do the same, and I would listen and pay attention. And I talked to Matt, I'm looking at him right here, and he was instrumental in helping me just because he was my connection to the rest of this network that I just didn't have. I leaned on my purveyors. I leaned on my friends. I leaned on my cohorts, and I leaned on my culture, and by doing that, it was something that I wasn't chewing off on my own. It was something that this big monster was going to chew and get through, So we had, in this time, we've had our 3 busiest days. We may be down 10 to 15% against last year, but we're new and we're popular, and it'd be crazy to think that I'd be ahead on sales from last year through this doing just takeout stuff. Now, unfortunately, I think that what comes with this big responsibility is you have to make difficult decisions. And I was prepared to make them. In the very beginning, I had to look some people in the eye and tell them, listen, this isn't going to be something where I'm going to be able to take us all. I promised you that if we make it through this, I'll have your part-time job here when we get through it. Every single person that works for me that's on a mortgage or has children has their job. Kids that were in high school and live with their parents, or kids that were college kids that would work for me some weekends. Unfortunately, I had to sacrifice that, and that move alone has been a huge part of why we sustained. I'm not proud of that. Please don't take me wrong in thinking that I'm proud of that, but I am certain that it was the right decision. Sometimes decisions are friggin' tough. And when you own your own business, sometimes they compile and they become tougher and tougher, right? So my goal at this point, say 2021, is to become a place that employs 40 people again, and not 20. So I guess that's how.
I wanted to maybe throw out and maybe ask a little follow-up question that I've heard all of you guys speak about culture, the culture of your business, and obviously relationship to your labor force. And obviously labor for restaurant business was tough before 2020. And it's obviously made that even harder, labor. But talking about culture, talking about your approach to your staff, how did you communicate to your people? How was culture important to retaining those employees, especially through all the change going on outside of the restaurant and then also inside the restaurant? You as leaders, you as owners, how did you all approach that with your teams and moving forward with the possibility, if we're being honest, possibility of perhaps another shutdown coming our way? And how is your restaurant's culture guiding the way through that? I'd love to hear from, maybe start with Sherree. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great question. Actually, I didn't mention, I do own another business. We own a grocery, a small market in our same neighborhood across the street from where my restaurant is. We do a little competing with ourselves, which sometimes is good, sometimes is not. But that business has more than doubled. And so what we've seen is that the neighborhood has, appreciated having a small, local, organic products that are made in Pittsburgh and somehow sustainably brought to us in the neighborhood. And so, so that has created another, it's only 2 years old, so it's a new business, but it's also created this great community, which was having a hard time getting going. So that's changed dramatically for COVID. And for the restaurant, we've been around for a long time, and we are a restaurant, but we are also a community partner in many, many ways. And what we do in our neighborhood and in our city and even in our state, and then what that means worldwide. And it's super important to us to be sustainable and in more ways than just the environment, but in our employees, in our health, in our wellness, and all of that stuff. So that's the culture. And we it's expected. I tell my staff during the interview process, I have high expectations, and they're probably not going to change. And that's just the reality of it. Some people make it, some people don't. And, we expect people to show up their best selves. And we've had an opportunity to watch people grow from, kind of devastating backgrounds to very sustainable life situations now. And that's because we love our employees, which, we cook. These are my words. We cook with love. We serve with love, and we're just flipping eggs here. So, your egg's wrong. I have, 400 dozen more in the freezer, in the cooler. I'll make a new one for you. This is not something to be upset about. And so we'll keep flipping eggs. We'll keep selling flour, and eventually we'll make it because our community will support us.
Right.
Yeah. So
you want to talk a little bit more about culture and labor and how that, how that affected your business?
So when we opened the restaurant, 5 years ago, like probably most people that open their restaurants, bye honey, you got to go to work now?
Hey, no, I'm at work.
Oh, and he's got the greatest office. Whatever food he sells, look at it. Look at that office. That's real nice. When we opened the restaurant, we kind of figured that we would carry our labor, perhaps even up to 6 months. Right? When you open a restaurant, you can't be open today and close early tomorrow because you didn't have business. You have to be open and reliable for your customers. We were very lucky when we opened the restaurant that we sort of had business pretty early on. But during COVID, especially when we decided to close, my wife and I, my partner in the business, we discussed what are we going to do regarding pay for our people. There could be a lot of weird things that happen. If the finer dining place is shut down, and guess what? There might be 100 line cooks on the street. We're trying to navigate everything. Our staff, keeping our staff. What is everyone else going to do? Is everybody going to lose their staff? Line cooks are renowned for jumping for a quarter an hour, probably less. How many? I mean, you get them. You got a guy that's worked in every spaghetti joint in the county, and he keeps jumping for a dime an hour. During this, what the heck are they going to do? They're gonna jump for a reliable job. So what we did was we ended up not having to have sort of danger pay or supplemental pay during our shutdown. What we figured we had to carry. Now we've got, during our peak time, we have 50 employees. That's a lot of people out of work. So we had workshops, like at the restaurant. Here's how we had a lot of high school kids. It was their first full-time job.
This is still going on.
We're lucky. I've got people that have been with me since they were a sophomore in high school, and now they're a almost third year nursing student kind of a thing. They've never had really another full-time job. So we had workshops and explained how unemployment worked, and with the added, supplemental stuff, a lot of them saw the most money they've ever seen. And then we were worried, are they coming back? Like, there were all kinds of talk on the street about, guys are getting this extra $600, and are they even going to come back to work when this is done? And so we had to navigate that as well. So 2 weeks prior to our plan to open, we had a meeting, and it was we use an online scheduling system, so it's pretty discreet. Put it out there. We're opening in 2 weeks. Who wants their job? Who prefers to stay home? Who prefers, or what's happening? And we were really, really lucky. All but one chose to come back. In fact, they were sort of coming at us like, when are we going to reopen? we're bored. We want to work. We think we can handle this. We only had one that, if this is a 1 day a week kind of a job, and I think she just comes in for the employee discount for her husband. He likes our food. So she chose to stay home with him during this time. So you asked about the culture of our employees and things like that. We don't know what that is. I mean, we have a culture, but this is all new. I cannot, as an owner, afford to carry their payroll indefinitely. And we didn't know how long. I thought it would be a week or two when we closed, honestly, and it has stretched much longer than that. And now there's this impending doom of more shutdowns and things like that. He just had a conference Wednesday. I'm sure everybody in Ohio that was listening was thinking, he's never had one at 5:30 at night. What's going to happen? Is it mandated masks for the state, or what is going to happen? And it was very bizarre, because it was sort of like a, hey guys, behave yourself, and then that was the end of it. Which no one's going to do. I mean, I'm a barbecue restaurant. Sherree, if you are a vegan and a breakfast spot, I might be able to guess your clientele. Okay. There's probably not a lot of MAGA hats that come into your place. Okay. I'm just going to call it like I see it. Guess what? I got a spit cup, and I own a barbecue restaurant. How many MAGA hats do you think I see, guys? So them dudes do not care anything about masks. No one's taking their guns, their flag, or their mask. They're not doing none of that, and no one is going to tell them not to. So in terms of culture, yes, there's cultures on both sides of the counter. We've had to adapt. What are we going to do? It feels like the right thing for us as restaurant owners to do, and some have mandated masks when you enter the building. I wear one. All of my crew, they're all wearing them. They're gloved up. We're spending out the ass on sanitation stuff that we can't even buy now half the time. And you got yahoos that come in the front door. They don't care one bit. They don't care what they got on them when they come in. They're dragging their kids in with them. Grimy, gross, crusty kids. I don't know what we're going to do. And our employees have to deal with that. And I have to be there to support them without pushing them out in gunfire, and that's kind of what it feels like. If I'm watching social media every day, there was another restaurant that just shut down in Kent. Somebody got it, they shut down. We watched North Carolina Restaurant Association had a similar meeting a couple of weeks ago talking about COVID. They had an attorney and this and that. And what do? What happens if someone on our staff gets sick? What happens if extended family gets sick? We've all had to kind of cover that with our crews, probably. Like, what do? I had a joker try to call off one day, we all got one. Martin, I'm sure you got one there. One of your crew got paid, and guess what? He's sick on Monday, right? So one of my jokers, calls me up and says he's got a fever. What he did not realize is that reporting to your boss that you have a fever during COVID, it's sort of, now guess what? There's a whole new door that opened regarding this. And how do we go about doing this? My gut tells me he's faking, right? You get that, I can't come into work today. I have a stomach ache or whatever. So there's culture there. And what are you going to do? Your crew and everybody knows now it's even doubly bad for that guy, because as it turns out, he thankfully, tested negative, but that I'm going to play hooky one day stretched into 14 days for him when I finally got a hold of him. And I said, guess what, dude? You're out for 2 weeks. What do you mean? Well, what would you guys do? If you've had that, how do you go about dealing with it? And it's something that's the call none of us want. We don't want to be forced to shut down like the unplanned. Hooley House, you guys probably knew something was coming prior to St. Patty's Day. You probably didn't order a truckload of kegs. I kind of knew. Guess what? Sunday when we shut down mid-shift and we didn't order. I didn't place any of my orders for the day. I was holding out on that press conference, and thankfully I did. Sorry, Bob. But we didn't order that week. I don't know, Adam, if that helped with some of the culture, but there's a lot of craziness happening.
No, there's no shortage of craziness. I guess, maybe, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to answer these questions. Richie, this one maybe, I guess, for you, and we want to be cognizant of time, but, maybe you did some really great things for calling out your staff through that, and I thought that was I think it'd be something cool to highlight, maybe talking through ways that you told your staff story using social media, playing that game. I definitely think that would be, for the folks that are listening, I think you had an interesting take on it, and it does tie in with culture for Hooley. So if you wanted to expound on that.
Yeah, I could share just kind of a quick philosophy on it. I'll be as quick as I can. So in leadership, I believe there's times that there's different styles and different times that call for different measures. So sometimes you lead from behind, right? And, that happens often. Usually when things are really successful, I try to stand behind the crew and let them shine. And when tough times come, you got to lead from out front. You got to drag them with you. You got to not hide. You got to be honest with them. And you got to know that you're there to take care of them and support them. So, really, there's a couple things we did. One was, the first thing was, we were completely transparent. So I just wrote them emails and said, we don't know what's going to happen. I sent a big message out to everybody, we will communicate with you daily. And we did that. We sent messages out every single day to our crew about what was going on. And they were all very appreciative and understanding. The second thing we did is I went out personally and started doing Facebook Lives, just right from this office, just like this, saying, hey, this is a tough situation. We don't know what we're going to do. But, they really appreciated that. And then what I decided to do was, we took, some of the cooks got to stay on and keep their jobs, right? But a lot of the front of house, the servers and bartenders, they were going to have trouble getting unemployment because a lot of their stuff is cash, right? So what I did is I had everyone send me a picture of themselves that they would like on social media, and I asked them 5 questions. And one is, what are you doing during COVID? Do you have enough toilet paper? What is your favorite menu item that you're going to miss at Hooley? And what, I forget the other one, but they were all, is a hot dog a sandwich? That was a question. And, that's a hot topic for debate, by the way. But so we had that. And then what we basically did is did a feature on them. I would write personally every morning. I'd get up, pick one person, put their picture out there, and I'd say, hey, this person's worked here for so many years. They're really great at this. We really appreciate them. We love them. And here's this staff profile. And then if people felt so inclined, we put their Venmo and PayPal information out there and said, what we called this initiative was Tip It Forward. So is somebody riding on a train out there? I hear some sort of train whistle. Anyway, so essentially what we did was called it Tip It Forward. And so we put this out every day, and there were people that literally got like $1,500 in tips just from complete strangers that found it online, and they would send it straight to their Venmo and PayPal. So we really, we put everybody out there, and that went a long way with the staff. They really appreciated that we tried to do anything we could for them, and it also showed them that we love them and we have their back. So I hope that answers that question.
So for sake of time, there is one last thing I want to touch on. I know many of you have done some really interesting things out of the norm. For example, Martine, I know there was something with crab legs that, you know, a little bit out of the ordinary.
Oh, gosh.
Sherree, I know there were some flash mob kitchens and things like that. So just keeping it kind of brief, Martine, can you tell us a little bit about some of the out-of-the-box things that you've done?
Well, I think in the very beginning, my wife and I decided we were going to, you know, there was all the talk of the kids at the school, you know, now they don't go to school, they're not going to have lunch. Like, so we were trying to find a way to make right on that. You know, I don't know if you guys remember how that was in the beginning while the kids were still in school, but a lot of kids depended on their school to get a meal, you know, so immediately we went to kids' meals being free. We made a small menu every day, and, you know, we tallied it up, and I mean, we gave away more than $10,000 worth of kids' meals. But it helped, again, just touching again on the culture of who we are. It wasn't something we were doing as a gimmick. It was literally something we were trying to do to help our community. That's basically where it began and ended. You know, at the same time, being entrepreneurial, and that same week it came to me like, man, people love crab legs, you know, and now with the restaurants, as they start, you know, shuttering, and like, you're not going to be able to get out to one. And, you know, we kind of rode the right hot moment to offer a crab leg meal. And by far, I mean, almost in triplicate, it was the busiest day we ever had. I don't even know how we got through this thing, you know, because we posted pictures of crab legs. People knew us as a place that spoke of quality and made an attempt at giving great food, you know, so they trusted us, and they came out and they bought crab legs, and it's like, it was actually really, really awesome. You know, we did huge sales that day selling just crab legs as a boil. You know, there's been, like I said earlier, so many things that I feel that we've done just by paying attention. You know, every day that we come in, at least myself, I think, well, how can we get this thing through this? You know, and again, I alluded to it earlier, we opened up our cafe, and now our cafe, you know, that we always intended on opening, it's providing coffee for people in a neighborhood that literally doesn't have even a Starbucks for 5 miles. So that's taken off pretty quick, and it's only 2 weeks old. You know, I don't know about crazy zany stuff that we've done to get through this, you know, outside of deciding to make, you know, conscious choices every day. We're going to sell crab legs this day. We're going to do family meals that you know, we've never done that before. Like, family meals for us have become a huge part of our repertoire right now. You know, people look to us for that every day, you know, and it becomes a big part of my sales. So offsetting sales is important. You know, we think about that daily. Like, we're not going to get the dining room full, and we banked on that. I mean, we're a little place, you know, we're 65 seats when we're open, and right now we're 0, you know, so how do we make up for that when we don't have that Friday, Saturday line out the door? And, you know, I don't know if you guys are aware, but like, Sherry's lines are ridiculous. Like, you try and go to the Square Cafe, forget about it, you know, like, it's long way, and it's worth it, every bit of it, you know. So I think that just you guys asking us to speak here is just a testament to you 3 guys, you know, Richie, Erik, Sherree, and me. I couldn't be more flattered, you know, just to be here. You know, I know I'm getting off topic, but anybody who's watching this, I wish you guys all luck, and I hope that, you know, you guys, if there's any kind of advice or anything that you need from me or V&V Scratch Kitchen, me and my wife, just reach out to us. You know, reach out to us through GFS. You know, the ideas might come to us together, or a phone call, or a set of emails. You know, we can all get through this. You know, I led this conversation by letting you guys know what I thought was most important, and that's staying positive. Like, what's the option here? Either we stay positive and we get through this, or you guys want to talk about the option? Like, I'm not closing down. I'm not giving up. You know, that's not going to happen. And everybody who's out there running a restaurant or owning a business, something sparked you, you know, tap back into that. Tap back into what sparked you to start this thing. And remember, like, it's out there for you to grab. You know, people got to eat every single day, 3 times a day, hopefully. You know, feed them. Find a way to feed them.
Thanks, Martine.
Hey, do you guys mind if I jump in just from a rep perspective with Martine? And through all this, I've said to him from the beginning, it's weird. Like I'm like, it's like you've been through this before, right? I've said it to him a couple of times. I know he hasn't because nobody has. But I think one of the most important things that Martin has done through all this, we talk every Sunday for his Monday order. And the conversation was never around what's not available. He started asking me what's available and what's available at a good price. And just stayed very fluid and outside of the box. I mean, he took his menu and basically crinkled it up and threw it away. And it was week to week. I mean, sometimes it was day to day, right, Martin?
Absolutely.
You know, what do you have that I can sell that people are going to want? That's how the crab leg thing came up. I mean, all honesty, I thought you were crazy. But it really worked and you proved me wrong. And but the conversation was what's available, what can I do, not what can't I do. And I think that was probably one of the biggest things I took away from Martin at V&V. It was what can I do.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And just now with you saying that, Matt, it reminds me, I mean, at one point you guys had wings on sale for $36 a case. I just scooped up 20 of them. I was like, all right, well, then I'm going to be a wing joint next week, and I found a way to sell them. And that type of behavior is what allowed me to keep my culture strong, to keep respecting what I meant when I started this thing, and to keep people employed. This hasn't been easy. I know it hasn't been easy for anybody, but it's a lot easier if you go into it with the right mentality.
Great, thank you guys. Last question, since we're getting close to time here, Sherree. I just wanted to hear you talk a little bit about like flash mob kitchens, the regional deliveries, some of the unusual for Square Cafe things that you've done recently.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. We did a flash mob kitchen, which was we just offered like 200 meals. First 200 people that showed up, $10, drive by, give us $10, we give you a meal. They knew what it was coming into it. We had a vegan option and a non-vegan option, and we sold out in about an hour and 15 minutes. We were supposed to be there for 2 hours, so that was great. I'd love to do that again, actually. But it's coordinating everything.
I know. I wanted to come over, and I saw you sold out before I could even go to the house.
We'll do it again. And the other things we've done is we've done these regional deliveries. So we have a couple delivery cars. Well, we have a couple cars that now have become delivery cars, and so we all around the city of Pittsburgh. We chose north, south, east, west, and then one other district. And we Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we just scattered ourselves out. And every Monday we went to the South Hills of Pittsburgh and delivered to all the neighborhoods out there. And it was an online ordering system. They had a cutoff time, and we would leave the store by 10 a.m. with sometimes up to 20 20 different orders. They were including grocery items as well as prepared foods, and people were buying lattes they weren't getting for an hour, and they damn well knew it, and very generous with their tipping. But people want to see us survive. And what was the other thing you asked me, Chris?
Just some of the different things. And I know you've also done community outreach and things like that.
We've given away, with the help of Monteverde Produce, which sorry to plug them, but they've been amazing partners also. And we've given away about 8,000 pounds of produce in the first 2 weeks of COVID, and just opened our doors and people were mobbing. I mean, we ran out there so quickly also, and it was sad. It was sad. So we want to be there for the long run, for sure. And I just want to, Martin, thank you for all that you said. And really, it's an honor always to be. I've been involved with GFS since I opened my business, and it is a love relationship.
Very, Adam, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you to wrap up for today. If there's anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I don't have any questions unless there's anybody that's watching this has any questions they want to type into the chat. I just wanted to say thank you to all four of our panelists for being willing to kind of come out and touch upon your story through the last couple of months and get some different perspectives. I think as a GFS employee, We come in with a lot of advice and a lot of resources that we try to bring to the table, but I think it's also from a peer-to-peer perspective, owner to owner, operator to operator. I think there's a lot of insights that can be gained from just hearing each other's stories, and hopefully that free-flowing exchange of ideas on how we move ahead into the future. I think it's super important. So I'm appreciative of you guys taking the time out of your day to be part of this.
For sure.
Yeah, we appreciate all of you. Thank you for being GFS customers. And really, we appreciate you taking the time to do this. So if there's anything else that anyone has questions about, please feel free to send us an email. We'd be happy to make any connections or try to get any answers for you. We look forward to seeing you all out in your restaurants.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.